The types will be something like a two types, a standard format and ILVM. Standard and LVM. For example, if something like uh, whatever we mounted, something like the format is so standard and LVM. So LVM is nothing but a logical volume manager. So logical volume manager. Standard means so something like whatever you are created with that partition. So we have created two partitions, right? So this is the hard disk. So the hard disk is slash dev slash sdb. So in this hard disk we have created two partitions. So one is slash dev sdb1 and slash dev sdb2. So yesterday we created these two hard disk as a standard partition. So standard means so if you create the standard partition, we cannot extend or we cannot reduce. Something like how much GB we added, how much GB we added. For this, for example, this is the app logs, this is the app logs and a DBA logs. For example, we created two mount points. Something like we created two mount points with the 10 GB. So 10 GB, 10 GB. So for example, I created as a something like a 100 GB app logs. App logs means application logs. So something like so whenever we deploy the application, whenever we deploy the code, whenever we deploy into the Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever the code, so they created a so so they created a logs for the logs means nothing but so if you log into the Facebook or WhatsApp, right? It will write the log. So whenever your login, whenever you are login, it will be write the log and what are the activities you did. So and when you log out, the everything will be so they will be storing and storing. So where we can store our app log, something like logs. So usually our instance will be something like a if it is a so 25 GB or 20 GB, right? For example, 25 GB is the 25 GB in our organization. 25 GB is for the normal OS installations. So, but we want a app logs. We want a app logs app logs. So we created another hard disk. That hard disk is something like a 1 TB hard disk. So for example, I used only 500 GB for that hard disk. 500 GB for that hard disk. Something like this is a 500 GB hard disk. You remember this? So this is a 500 GB hard disk. This hard disk is SDB hard disk. This 500 SDB hard disk attached to the app logs. But after 6 months, but after 6 months, so 6 months. For example, so every day log, the app logs will be writing every day. The log file will be writing. So something like a 5 GB of file. So the log file are writing every day 5 GB. So if it is a 5 GB, so something like a 5 GB per day 5 GB. So 500 GB, how many days it sustain? 5 GB into 100 days. So 100 days. So every day it will be a 5 GB. So it's something like a 100 days. So 100 days it will be 500 GB. So it will sustain only 100 days. After 100 days, so we need to extend. We need to add another 500 GB hard disk. We need to add another 500 GB hard disk. For example, if you create this partition as a standard, so you cannot reduce, you cannot extend. Extend means you cannot add, you cannot reduce means you cannot reduce or decrease, you cannot decrease. So if you set as a standard partition, otherwise if you set as a LVM, a logical volume manager, if you set as a partition ID, partition system ID, so standard is nothing but a Linux. Standard is nothing but a, so standard partition is nothing but a Linux. Standard partition is Linux. So the ID is something like a 83. Standard partition ID is 83. So if you create as a LVM, if you create as a LVM partition, so the LVM partition, so name also LVM, the LVM partition ID is 8E. If you set as this partition ID 8E, so it treated as a, it is the 500 GB treated as a, so LVM. So we can extend the partition. So we can extend the partition. So LSBN, yeah. You see, this is the LVM partition. So this is the part is nothing but a standard partition. So we cannot extend or we cannot reduce these partitions. So something like LVM is nothing but a, so we can extend the partition. We can extend the partition. How we can set as a extended or something like a, how we can set as a extended or something like a, standard or LVM. So I will show you. So something like a, I want to change the partition ID on the hard disk. So first we already mounted, right? DF hyphen. So DF hyphen HT. So yeah, so that app logs and DBA logs is mounted. So these two partitions will be mounted to a directory. First we need to unmount the partitions. So you mount hyphen L is nothing but a course goal app logs. So unmounted. DBA logs unmounted. Now, if you see the df-ht, so it will not show you because it's already unmounted. So detached, unmounted or a detached from the from the space. So something like if you press the LSBLK, it will show. It will show. So I want to change the partitions. I want to change the partition ID. Let's see how we can change the partition ID. So how we can format the disk slash dev SD SDB. So in the SDB, so we have a print. So in the print we have a two partitions created. So that's you see. So the system is a Linux. Linux is nothing but a standard. The ID is 83. Standard Linux. The ID is 83. So if it is a LVM partition ID is 80. Let's see that partition. So I'm for help. So delete the partition. So change the partition system ID. So the partition system ID is 83. I want to change the partition system ID from 83 to 80. So let's use the T. T is nothing but a change the partition system ID. Yeah. So in which partition number? SDA1 or SDA2? So we have a two created. So SDA1 and SDA2. Which partitions? So you want to change the ID. Something like I'm giving partition 1. So exact code. So which code you want to specify. So if you use the type L to list the codes. 82 swap, 83 Linux, 80 Linux LVM. So these all are the partition IDs. Partition IDs. I want to change it to 80. You see, change it the type of the partition from Linux to Linux LVM. Standard to LVM. Next, write the next again T again to, so 80. I'm changing on both the disks, both the partitions. So then right hand. So again, you can check it. Have disk hyphen L. Yeah. You see, so before it is 83. Now it is 80E. So now I am trying to mount it. Mount hyphen E. So df hyphen ht, you see. So it mounted lsblk, lsblk. So altered. So I'm rebooting the server. Don't reboot, guys, in production servers. Don't reboot the production servers. Guys, be cautious when you are doing, when you are something like editing or executing or any production servers. So be cautious. So if you want to do any action on the production server, definitely we need to go through a change request. We need to go through a change request. So who knows something like a ITL, guys? Does anyone knows about ITIL? So information technology and infra library. Josna, I think you know, right? Josna?
ITIL.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
IT.
yeah.
You know, or you don't know? Something like instant change management, instant management, problem management. Do you know, Josna? So you see, guys, let's learn. So why it is showing part? So I already changed it to LVM, right? Yep, please. Yeah, it's already changed, guys, no worries. So it changed to LVM. So you want to add or something like you want to add or add any space, you can use the. So you can add the and you can add the disk and you can extend the disk or whatever you want. So that is nothing but a LVM. This is nothing but a disk partition, guys. Now you understood, right, guys? A disk partition mount. So mount is nothing but a to attach the mount and U mount. So U mount is nothing but a unmount the mount point, unmount. So mount is nothing but a something like a attach, attach the hard disk, hard disk, hard disk space to hard disk space to a directory, hard disk space to a directory. Now you understood, right, guys? So user administration. So what is a user administration? So user administration. So guys, how many users are there? So while installing the OS, which user is automatically installed? Guys, so which user
Root.
is automatically installed? Root user. Very good. So root user, so root user and normal users. Guys, so what is the home directory for the root user, guys? Slash
Slash
root.
root.
In file system hierarchy, slash root is the home directory. So this is the root user. Root user and so this is admin user and normal users. So guys, normal users home directory is
Slash home.
yeah slash home something like a Hari. So this is the normal users. So normal users home directory. Normal users home directory is under slash home Hari. So root users home directory is something like a slash root. So normal user or root user. So root user, you guys understood. Root user can execute both the commands as bin and bin commands. Normal user can execute only the bin commands, right? So normal user and root user. Normal users having some certain limit of permissions, but root user can do anything. So users can be two types. So root user, so the UID, what is a UID? UID is nothing but a user ID. So user ID. So what is the ID of the root? ID of the root is a 0. What is this, guys? ID of the root is a 0. What is this? UID, right? ID root. Yeah. So ID root. What is the ID root? So UID is user ID is 0, group ID is 0, groups. So something like so root ID is a 0. So something like Hari user add Hari ID Hari. So what is the ID of Hari? 1000.
So is there any use of this user ID and the group ID?
Yeah. I will tell you. I will tell you.
Okay.
Okay. So something like the UID of the UID is something like so in line next, how many users we can create? 60,000 users we can create in the 60,000 users. So will create in the Linux environment. How many users? 60,000 users we can create in the Linux. So how many users we can connect at a time? 60,000 users we can connect the servers. So Linux is a multi-user, a multitasking operating system. So how many users we can create? A 60,000 users. First 0 to 999. So 999 is so related to system related user. System related users. So from 1000 onward, from 1000 to 60,000, from 1000 to 60,000. So we can create the ID of the normal users. So normal users ID starts from 1000 onwards. Normal users ID starts from 1000 onwards. 1000 onwards. Sorry. So system related users. So what is the system related users? So system related users means so something like we have a services, something like a web server, Tomcat, FTP, something like a SSH. So system related, all the system related services will be using so 0 to 999. So normal users ID will start from 1000 onwards. Normal users started from 1000 onwards. Yes, I already uploaded in the drive. You can check it and you can download it and you can practice. Yeah. So user administration. All users UID and JID starts from 1000 by default. So UID means user ID, JID means group ID. So UIDs, GIDs. So how many UIDs? 60,000 UIDs, GIDs will stop. So something like a 0 to 999. System itself uses. So 0 to 999. Something like a 0 is for root and so 999 triple. So from 1000 to 60,000, all the general users uses. So for a user account, primary group is mandatory. It is not assigned to any group. User himself behaves as a group. Something like a GID is nothing but a group ID. So something like every user is assigning to a group ID. So something like if you are not assigning to any group, so it user himself behaves as a group ID. So what is the database file or a configuration file for this user and groups? I will show you guys. Yeah. So for a user account, primary group is mandatory. Primary group is mandatory. For example, so something like mm, for example, Josna, Nagraju, Sai, and Vamshi. So these are related to a DevOps group. These all are related to a DevOps groups. For example, Kim, Stella, Henry, uh, still Henry, Gloret, Gloret, so something like Matho or Dorcas. Dorcas. These are related to these all are related to something like a AWS cloud engineers. These all are a cloud engineers. These groups are these all are related to something like a cloud cloud engineers. So these are Kim, Stella, Henry, and Gloria and Dorcas related to cloud engineers. So Josna, Nagaraju, Sai, Vamshi, these are related to DevOps, DevOps groups. So something like Josna is assigned to DevOps groups, Nagaraju is assigned to DevOps groups, Sai is assigned to DevOps groups, Vamshi is assigned to DevOps groups. If something, if some, if DevOps group having, if you are having any permission to that groups, the DevOps group automatically whatever the DevOps group having the permissions automatically comes to the Josna, Nagaraju, Sai, and Vamsi. So whatever same like as a cloud engineers. So whatever the permissions we are providing to the group, cloud engineers, so that permissions will automatically assigned to the Kim, Stella, Henry, Gloria, and Dorcas also. Dorcas also. So Dorcas also. Something like that. So for an user account, primary group is mandatory. If you are not assigned to any group, user himself behaves as a group. Same like as a same like as here. So I did not assign any group to the Hari. Hari himself. GID is nothing but a group ID. So it's something like a group also. Group is a Hari. So user is Hari. So groups also Hari. So if you are not assigned to any group, it automatically himself behaves as a group. Himself behaves as a group. So the information will be available in the /etc group. So group, something like if you are not assigning if you are not assigning any group, so Hari also created as a group. Something like you see Apache, Cronny, Fastfix, Postdrop, SSH. These all are the so below triple nine. All the system related users or groups will assign 0 to 999. So something like so for normal users from normal users, the user group is starts from 1,000 and group also starts from 1,000. User also starts from 1,000. UID GID starts from 1,000. So if you are not assigning to any group, so something like user himself behaves as a group. Something like a user add, something like not a user group add, DevOps group add cloud engineer. So cloud engineer. I have created a two two groups. So where I can find the group information, the class etc groups. So I created a DevOps and a cloud engineer groups. These are the two groups I created. I will show you guys. You will understand. So yeah. So if for a user account, primary group is mandatory. So compulsory a primary group is mandatory. If you are not assigning any group, user himself behaves as a group. So something like how to create a group add to create the group for a user, it may be a primary group or secondary group. And all groups information will be available under the all the groups information will be available under the /etc group /etc a group. How you can create the group something like a group add group name. So something like a group add -g group name. So something like a group add HR group add -g. So 10,000. So if you are giving to an use, you are giving to use something like if you want to specify the GID, so particular GID you can specify it under the -g use -g. If you are not specifying
So
any group ID, yes, Josna.
we can modify the existing group ID also. For example, you
Yeah,
have created one DevOps, it's 1,001. We can modify,
yes,
we can update that 1,001 to something 1,003 like that also.
yes. So that's the reason.
So,
Something like a user, yeah. So if you wait till
so
and
for
you
that
will
also it's the
understand.
same command.
Yes. No. Group add is only for the group creating. Group mod is for the modifying the group.
Okay, modify. So
Yeah.
what is the second command? Group add hyphen G some 10,000 nagios. What is that command?
So this command is so something like if you use the group add HR, group add DevOps.
Okay.
So I created a so group add HR. So if I not specifying any ID, so if I not specifying any ID, so it will automatically take the ID. It will automatically take the
Okay.
ID. So what is the ID?
Okay.
Next ID, something like a DevOps. So Hari 1000, DevOps 1001, Cloud Engineer 1002. So if I give the group add HR, so what is the ID it assigned?
Some
Yoshmi
1,004 or the
1003.
next number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next name. You can check it.
Okay.
So what is the ID? 1000. No, I don't want this group ID. I want a something like a fancy number. I want a fancy
Okay.
number. I want to specify a group ID also. So you can specify
Yeah,
group
got it.
ID through you can specify the group ID to something like hyphen G 1000. So let's
Yeah.
now we got
The
it right.
same thing we can do it for the user add also.
Yes, yes. So you see
Okay.
user add, user add, user mod,
Okay.
user del. User add, user mod, user del. So if you how you can create the users, how you can create the normal user. You can create the normal user by using the user add command. How we can modify the a user. Something like for example, I want to modify the user. How we can modify it by using the user mod command. By using the user mod command to modify the user account properties without deleting the user account. So user del to delete the user account. So how we can set the password? How we can set the password for the user? How we can set the password for the user? So to assign a password for the user account, what is the command? Passwd is the command. Passwd is the command for to set the password. To set the password. Understood just now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So group add, something like how you can create the group add. So we can create how we can create the group. We can create the group by using the group add command. So more in the slash etc group or something like if you want grep. So you can use the grep command also. So the fields in the slash etc group. The fields in the slash etc group. What are the fields in the slash etc group? Something like HR X103. So what is this? What is this? So something like a group name. First is a group name. So the second is a GID. So that is so this is for the password. So if secondary group members are there, you can see the secondary group members in the group add. So how to add the user add to create a new user account. So are you creating root account, guys? Are you created root account or are you creating root account?
We don't create root account.
Yes, no. So because of root account, so will create automatically while installing the OS. So root is a super user. So root is a super user. Root user is created while installing the OS. Root user is created while installing the OS. So root user is so we cannot create the root users. So which users we can create? Which users, guys? Normal users we can
Normal.
create it. So normal users, so we can create it. So normal users UID starts from 1000 to 60,000, 1000 to 60,000. So how we can create the user? We can create the user by using the user account, user add for creating the user account. So for creating the user account, I want to modify the user account. How we can modify it? Something like by using user mod command. Modify the modify the user account. Modify the user account. User del. I want to delete the user account. So to delete the user is account. Delete the user account. I want to
So
set the password. Yes, just
If
go
we
ahead.
delete
Go
the
ahead.
user account, automatically group account will be also deleted?
So group account. So you are asking a group account is different than user account. So if it is
Yeah,
a
but while
something like
creating user but while creating user account, automatically group account is also creating, right?
no. So group accounts are
No, like
created by the group ad. Something like if you create the Hari without group, if you are not assigning to
okay,
any group to the Hari himself created as a group. Yeah, it will be
group
Hari group also deleted.
delete. Okay,
Hari group also deleted.
okay.
Okay, but if you are assigning to a Hari assigning to a DevOps will not delete.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, got.
So that group DevOps will not delete, but hurry. If you are not assigning to any group, so user himself has behaves as a group, right? That group user itself,
Yeah.
Hurry will delete on the
Okay.
group also.
Okay.
So I want to set the password for the password for the so something like any user, Hari user, for example. So what is the command? What is the command, guys? Passwd is the command to to set the password for a user. Set the password for a user is passwd is the command. So I want to create a user. What is the command, guys? User add is the command. So user mod is the command to modify the account. User del is the command to delete the account. So I want to set the password for the user account. Something like here in the Windows, yeah. So there will be a users. So there will be a normal users will be located in the here, right? So something like Veda Deva is my user. Deva is my user. How we can how we can reset the password or something like the GUI, we can something like a control alt delete. So it will ask change the password or delete the password, whatever it is. Because of this is the a GUI mode, Windows is a. But in Linux is a command line CLI mode. How we can reset the password? How we can set the password by using the passwd command? How we can create the user? We can create the user in the user add command. How we can modify the user? We can modify the user in the user mod command. How we can delete the user? So user del is the command to delete the user. Guys, now you got it? So now you got it, right?
Yeah,
So something like, so
but
whenever you
but
create,
changing the password also is the same command.
yeah, same command, same command, same
Okay.
command.
Okay.
So reset the password, change the password, create the password. So the only one command passwd. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So something like how we can create the user account. To create a new user account by using the user add. User add is the command. So user add options username. What are the options? -u. So -u means UID. So if you are not specifying any UID, it automatically taken the default one. If you want to specify a specific UID, you can use the -u option. So -g is nothing but a primary key. So we created a two groups. We created how many groups? Two groups. Something like so I set as this is a primary group. This is a primary. Something like this is a secondary. This is a secondary group. DevOps is the primary group. So something like the cloud engineers is the secondary group. How we can set the group? So I want to set the primary group as a DevOps. So -G DevOps. I want to set the secondary group as a cloud engineer. Capital G a cloud engineer. So I want to set the home directory. -D is the option. -C is the comment. I want to comment something. I want to I want to use the -S for shell. -S for a shell. The information will be so whenever you create the user details are going to store under /etc passwd. So whenever you create a user, so the user details are going to store under the /etc passwd. So if you whenever you create a group, so the group details will be stored under the /etc group. The same like as a whenever you create the user details will be stored under the /etc passwd. So where we need to store the user information under slash etc pass wd under slash etc pass wd cat slash etc pass wd. You guys see Hari account created, right? User add Hari. So user add Hari, a normal user that starts from 1000. So root user UID is 0. So daemon, shutdown, halt, mail, operator. These all are below 999 only. These all are system related. So system related user, system related users UID 0 through 999, 0 to 999. From 1000 onwards, a normal users UID. So normal users UID will start from 1000 onwards. Something like Hari 1000. So Apache, Cron, these all are the system related users. You guys see, so has been no login. So has been no login. But when you are creating a user, so something like it's showing a bin bash. So bin bash is nothing but a and again shell. So I already told you, right, guys, how many shells are there? So there is K shell, C shell. So we are interacting with the which cell, guys? Dollar echo is the print screen. Dollar shell, dollar shell. So we are using, guys, a bin bash. Bin bash means, so when you log into the server, when you something like a user as a root user having a so bin bash. So root user having a bin bash. So that is the reason we are able to connect this bash prompt. Something like if you are setting as a sbin no login, sbin no login is nothing but a so user is created, but so he is unable to log in the he is unable to interact with the servers. So he is unable to interact with the servers. I will show it to guys. I will show it to no worries. So something like so whenever you create a user, the user details are going to store under slash etc password. The database files. So the user passwords are going to store under slash etc shadow. So its slash etc password will be stored under the user details. The password information will store under the slash etc shadow. So where the password information will be available? The password information will be available under the slash etc shadow. Shadow. So shadow, the password information will be available. This is the root password. So this is the, so this is the, so this is the a normal user's password. A normal user's password and root users. These all are the password information. The user's password information will be located under the stored under the slash etc shadow. The user's information will be stored under the slash etc passwd slash etc passwd slash etc passwd. So the user information will be stored. The information will be stored under the slash etc password. So the password information will be stored under the slash etc shadow. Slash etc shadow is for a password information. Slash etc passwd is for store the user information. User information. So whenever you create a user, the user details are going to store under slash etc passwd. Passwd the database file. Passwd the database file and user's passwords are going to store under the slash etc shadow database file. Shell is used to interact with the system to know how many shells are available. So to know how many shells are available, cat slash etc shells. So bin bash is the default shell for the all the Linux and Unix users. I already told you, right, guys? Bin bash is the default shell for all the Linux, Unix are using bin bash. Sbin no login. Sbin no login is a special shell which gives no interaction with the systems. So which gives no interaction with the system. Generally, all the service user accounts are assigned to all the service user accounts to accounts. All those are assigned with the no login cells. All the service users. Service users start from 0 to 999. So from 1 to 999, all the service users are assigned as a no login has been no login. You see, guys. So all the service users 2, 3, 4, 5. So has been no login. All the service users, all the normal users. So will assign the bin bash. So if you assign the bin bash, then only you can interact with the shell. Something like I am creating a user called Josna. User add Josna. So I'm adding a user, but I'm giving the option to hyphen yes, then no login. I'm setting as a has been no login. Cat slash etc password. You see, Josna is set as a has been no login. Hari is set as a bin bash. So I'm creating the password for the both the users. Hari. I set as a red hat. So yeah, I set the password for the Hari, same like as a Josna also. Josna, red hat. So something like Josna having a SBIN no login, Hari having a bin bash. Let's see. So are able to log in. So I'm using the Hari user and the password is red hat. Yeah. So I got the interact the shell echo dollar shell. So bin bash. So I'm able to interact. I'm able to log in the server because of so I'm assigning to bin bash. But I'm trying to log in as a Josna Goyshn Josna and password I set the password first. So red hat.
Username spelling is wrong.
Wrong.
It should be JYO, but you mentioned as JOY.
Ah, no worries. Whatever it may be. JYO. Yes. Yes. Oops. Yes. So what is the username, guys? JYOSHNE, right? Josna. Yeah, password is red. And you see, it automatically, it automatically, it automatically closed it because of so Josna doesn't have the bin bash access. So doesn't have the bin bash access. Guys, now you got it. Created the user account Josna, but so she is unable to log in the server because of so she's so he's her shell something like while creating the her name her username. So we kept as a has been login. If we kept the has been login, so we unable to has been no login. We are unable to access the server. Just created the user account. Now you got it, guys. You see. So has been no login is a special cell which gives no interaction with the system. Yes, it proved. So Josna is unable to interact and unable to interact with the system server. So because of so we set as a has been no login. So generally all service user accounts are assigned with the no login cells. So grep no login slash etc password you see. So something like a which shell we are using. So to assign the password for the user account, how we can set the password for the user account? We can set the password for the user account is passwd username. So I already showed you, right, guys? So the option L is nothing but a log the password. Something like so when we will log the password, something like you guys are knows, right? So if you're working in the Windows platform, something like if you type, so if you're typing 3 or 4 times the password wrong, so automatically lock your password. So who unlock the password? The administrator will unlock the password. So administrator will unlock the password in Windows unlike Linux. So how we can lock the password, how we can unlock the password, how we can delete the password. So on how we can set the password status. I understood, guys. Lock the password, unlock the password, delete the password. Something like so if you want to delete the password, you can delete the password. Okay. So user add. So user add user one. So user add user one is nothing but a default. Everything will be treating as a default. User add hyphen u. So you are specifying the UID 1000 to the user two. Something like user add hyphen g. Hyphen g means a primary group. So set as a primary group. Something like a primary group is a HR or for our DevOps. So here something like a cloud engineer. Cloud engineer is the secondary group. So primary group is the DevOps. Secondary group is the something like a cloud engineers. So cloud engineers. So if you want to set both primary and secondary, hyphen G and hyphen small g, hyphen capital G. If you want to assign a user account, Henry, who is rising, Henry, ask.
Yeah, can you run a command of how you can unlock a password or delete a password?
Yeah, I will run that command.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So hyphen user add hyphen G is nothing but a secondary group. If you want to specify both primary and secondary, you can use it. So I want to set as a has been no login. I want to set as a hyphen C is nothing but a comment. Something like this is a FTP user. Hyphen S is nothing but a has been no login. Guys, now you understood? You can practice this command. So something like in the field slash it is a password. In the slash it is a password, we have a how many fields? 7 fields. In the slash it is a password slash etc password. So we have a 7 fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's see what are the 7 fields. Yeah, 7 fields. 1, 7 is instructor. Second is something like so what is the one? One is a username. It is used for when user login in. So second is password. So hyphen x is nothing but a password. Password is an encrypted format. So third is nothing but a UID. Fourth is nothing but a group ID. Fifth is nothing but a user home. Something like home hurry. The home directory for the user. So user info. So something like a 6 is nothing but a home directory. So 7 is nothing but a shell. Winbus or hbin no login. Now you got it? So fields in the shadow, the password. So one is instructor. Second is something like a password. It will be encrypted. Third is the last change password. So fourth is the minimum change password. Fifth is the maximum change password. Six is nothing but a warning. Six is nothing but a warning. Seven is nothing but inactive. Eight is nothing but a expire. How we can when we can expire something like a contract guy is joined in our company. Something like his contract is for only 1 year. After 365 days, the user account automatically the password or user account the password will automatically expire. How we can set it? So by using the expire password. So user mod to modify a user account properties without deleting the user account. To modify the user account properties without deleting the user account. User mod hyphen options. So if you want to modify using the user mod command. So I add a user to your multiple secondary groups, you can use the user mod command. To remove the user from the secondary group, something like a G passability hyphen D username group name. So user del. So user del is nothing but to delete the user account. User del options you name. So options is nothing but a recursively delete everything. So hyphen F forcefully delete everything. His account is logged in also. So if you want to use R, if you are not using R, the home directory will not delete. So if you want to delete everything, user account as well as the home directory also. You can use the hyphen R option. So user del user one removes the user account, but it won't delete the his data. Data is nothing but a slash home where the data is available under the slash home user account. If you use the hyphen R user one, removes everything related to user account one also. So note the default user administration options are available in the slash etc login dev. Sorry, user add user add. Whenever we are creating a user account, slash etc password file is the user database file. Shadow is the password file. Group information will be available under the slash group. So home directory created as a slash home username. So user mail something like that. So user ID username. So with this you will get the user login with the group's information. So finger username it will give the user information. Chase command. Chase the command. Change user password expiry information. So you said something like a, so password is set. Password is set. How we can change the password? So everything. So we can reset the password by using the password, but the change the information. So these are the informations, right? The password information will change. So change. So the information will be changed through the change command. Chase is the command, change the user password expiry information. The chase command changes the number of days between the password changes and the date of the last password change. Then this information is used by the system to determine when a user must change his or password. So how we can change it? Chase options username. Henry?
Yeah,
Henry?
I'm right. I'm right here.
Yeah. So what is your question?
I say, can you run a command how we can actually like change password or delete password and stuff like that?
Yeah. So something like you set as a password. Something like so this is the truth. Her account is there, right? Something like you created a password as a red hat. So you want to change the password after immediate login. How we can say change the password? So by using the chase command, chase -l hurry. Let's see. Chase -l hurry. You see, so the information will be the password information. Last password change, July 29, 2023. Password expire, never. Password inactive, never. Account expires, never. So minimum number of days between the password change, 0. So minimum and maximum number of password changes, 9999. So minimum number of warning password expires, 777. I want to change it after immediate login. Something like I set as a WD password for Hari, red hat, red hat. Yeah. Chase, chase, chase. I want to set the chase -d. Zero is nothing but a zero is nothing but. So we can change the password. Yeah. Chase -d zero tom to prompt user to change the password at first line. Yeah. So let's see. So something like Hari. I set as a set as a change the password once he logged into the Hari. A duplicate session. So Hari, red hat. You see. So the so I set as a password change 0 days. So once you log into the server, it automatically asked the password change. Warning: your password has been expired. You must change your password now and log in again. Changing the password for the user Hari. Changing the password for the user Hari. So the current password is red hat. Something like a new password is something like red hat. So the new password also red hat. Or CentOS. So something like I give you as a CentOS. Hari, Hari. So you can change the password in the first login. You can change the password in the first login. Yeah, it was asking password. Red hat. So it is not taking the current password. You can take something like I change it to CentOS. 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 So you see, so the password is shorter than 8 characters. You want to minimum 8 characters. Something like I set as a send to CentOS @12345. Send to OS @12345. You see, the password is changed. The password is changed as a CentOS @1234. So now you got it, Henry? Yeah.
Um,
So something like I want to change the password, minimum number of days, maximum number of days, warning. So something like inactive. You can set by using the chase command. You can check that by using the chase command. You guys can practice these commands. So if you're having any doubts, so tomorrow we will discuss on this, guys. Okay.